Hello, this is Dan Maher. I want to go through the interface on my math labs specific to how I have the class set up because there's different ways you can do this, and some other teachers might have a little different interface. But what we're looking at here right now is the home page. The calendar is a good tool to see what's coming up. It's a little different here right at the beginning because we're doing, basically reviewing 3 chapters this week. But as I hold the mouse over, like Monday today, it'll, it says that I had an intro homework assignment, these blue dots. There's a chapter review. And I know this is pretty compressed. These reviews are quite a few problems, but probably the most important part of that review is the video that I did that's attached to that, which quickly goes through a review of the whole chapter. And the quizzes are open for this already, and it doesn't show that because they were open last week. But and then the chapter 2 review and chapter 3 review. And then on Friday, if you look at this, they have what is due, chapter 2 quiz and chapter 3 quiz. And also you'll see this proctored chapter 1 through 3 test not available yet. So this is when this becomes available. And if you look at the assignments portion here on the left part, it doesn't show that test doesn't show up here. And because this only shows what's available to work on right now. And all the homework is open. If you go ahead in chapters, you'll see all the homework assignments for chapter 4 are there in chapter 5. You don't see any quizzes for chapter 4 because they're not available to work on yet. Where these first 1 through 3 chapter quizzes, I already opened those up so you can work on those right now, and hopefully get this ready for this test on Friday. But notice that the test isn't here. So on the course home, the calendar is a pretty crucial tool to make sure that you don't miss an assignment. Now I have I attached on the syllabus a schedule of all the assignments, and mostly why I did that is to make sure that you have time to plan for these proctored tests. So if you're outside of the Wenatchee area, you'll need to either get something arranged at OMAC campus or check with a regional library that may be close to you, and see if they do proctoring. And if they do, then you need to send that to me that you're planning to use a proctor at a library, and then make sure that you send that information to me, and then I need to check out the library and make sure that they're ready and have the right stuff for you to do this test. So really what I want to do a short video on this is how do I use this interface. These announcements will have some old information. I just copied a test or a class from before, but when I make new announcements that you haven't read, they'll show up here. The announcements also go to your email address that you use on this platform, my math lab platform. So make sure you use an email address on here that is, if you have a smartphone or something, that's something that pops up on your phone. So if there's some change to our schedule or something, that you catch that. And email, I do most of our communication in this class by email. I do not use Canvas after we start the class, which is today. I do all the grading in this platform, and all the communication will be in this platform. So I use Canvas to make sure you get the initial information on how to get onto this platform as well. Now the grade book, I did go ahead for this student, which is a test student, here's your grade book, and what's nice about this, you can see pretty close to where you're going to be at any time during this corner. And here's a good chance to explain how the grading works again. It's like we're doing we have 100 points available for the quarter, and in that category weight here, that's what it's talking about. So right here in this example, I've done some homework, and I didn't do very well on that homework. I had a 61.11%. That means that so far I've earned 6.11 points on homework. And in the quizzes, I took a couple quizzes, and I didn't do well on that. Hopefully, I just did this quick. You'll notice I got 6 minutes I worked on this. And so on this one, I got 46% out of the 30 points that are available. This is weighted higher than the homework. So in this case, I've earned 13.93 points. Or if I kept this quiz average for the quarter, so I'll take more quizzes and this average will hopefully go up. That average is multiplied times the points, and that's how many points I got for the quarter. On the test, I got an 87.5%, but this is out of 60 points, so there were 52 points earned for the quarter. So when I add all those points up, that'll be my quarter grade if this was the end of the quarter. Now, as the average, as the amount of homework assignments and so on is an average score. So, it's based on the amount of homework assignments I do, divided, or, the percentages of all those added together and then divided by the number of homework assignments. So as the test, when I do the next test, this doesn't change just because I get a 90% on the next test. It doesn't go to 90%. It's going to be 87.5 plus 90% divided by 2, which will bring that up a little bit, and I'll get more points. But this is a good place to look. You can see this at any time. It shows, how much homework you've submitted, how many quizzes, and if I hold my mouse over there, there's more information given, which is kind of here too. And then the tests. So if you look at this now for this class, there's 34 homework assignments. There's 6 quizzes and 5 tests. So I've done 1 out of the 5 tests, and so my average is 87.5. I got 87.5 divided by 1. But as I do more tests, it's still the average calculated times these points. That's how weighted grading works. And obviously the point of this platform in the class is to use your homework and your quizzes. These quizzes do have a pretty significant effect on your grade, and you can do multiple attempts at these quizzes, and I've talked about this on some of the other videos, is use these quizzes as a prep for the test. So I take the quiz the first time probably as just like I would in the proctored test, is just have some blank scratch paper. Also, try to get disciplined on how you write your work in your scratch paper, and submit it and see where you're at. And if it's a low score, go back to the quiz. You can look at the questions that you got incorrect, and it's important that you fix that. So you look at that. It'll also tell you what section of the book it's from and other things, so you can do reference material, try to figure out. It'll actually tell you what the correct answer is supposed to be, and you can see what might have been the issue, why you got it wrong. And then take the quiz again. Maybe, just like the test again, and see if you fix those problems. And then, whatever you didn't fix, go back and try to, find out what's wrong with your work in that case. And then the third attempt, I usually give 3 attempts. Some of the quizzes I might give 4 attempts, but one of those attempts, probably your last one, get out your book, use all the materials you can. You want to get a good score because they only take the highest score out of all those attempts. So, a scenario where I took multiple quizzes, I may have got a 55% the first attempt at the quiz. I went back and looked at, and a lot of times it's prior knowledge issue, or I'm doing the same thing, only 1 or 2 things wrong, but it's affecting a lot of questions on that quiz. So if I fix those 1 or 2 things, then I'll do better. I take the quiz again like I'm taking the test, and I get an 85% or something like that, and I'd go like, great, that's improved, but I'd prefer to get an A. I'd look at the ones I got wrong, and you say, yeah, I know what I did. I just, minor errors. And also you want to think about, well, if I did hand in this paperwork that I put along with this, I should quit calling it scratch paper. It's really like your written portion of your test when you do take the test. Will I or Mr. Maher be able to understand my work? So if I did put in an incorrect answer on the test portion now, as an example, will he be able to understand what I'm doing, and I can get some partial credits? Now, the last attempt at the quiz, like I said, I'd take out all the material, try to get the highest grade you can enter. You can take as much time as you want, and you could get hopefully in the 90s percents on that, because this affects your grade. I mean, so if you, in this case, I did a 50-some%, and then an 80-some%, and then I did a 96%. 96% is what's used in the grade book, okay? And the tests. So this does a very good job. The only thing I don't do or might not be showing here is when we start testing on like chapter 4, any homework that you haven't attempted, I'll put in a 0 score, which could lower this at some point when I start filling in the incompletes with zeros, because it isn't in the grade book until it actually has a score attached to it. But again, even then, you can still work on any homework past the due date. So you could go back and get a better score on that later if you need to improve your homework scores. Quizzes are open at a certain time and due at a certain time, so you don't have the chance to go back and do quizzes unless you contact me and there's some health reason or some emergency came up and you weren't able to make this due date. And tests, proctored tests, are only in 1-day windows. In Wenatchee, I'll try to I'll have a daytime session and a nighttime session. And if you're not close enough to make those sessions, make sure that you get an appointment with your proctor that I've approved, and on the day of that test. This is a class in a sense that we're for my management purposes, I'm trying to keep you close to the same timeline, and so it's important that you respect these due dates. And the study plan, I'm just going to go through things here that are available on this platform. So Course Home here, this home page, this calendar is important. This is kind of handy to see what assignments are coming up. But again, these won't show quizzes and tests until they're actually available. There's some other things here I don't use, like learning catalytics. This overall score is pretty good to see. And here is your access to your, it's a browser check, I guess, to make sure that you can use the online book, which is nice if you haven't bought the paper book, which can save you some money, and then you just use the online book. The other way, the assignments I went through, the start here is a solution manual, some other things that I don't use very often. I do have some students that tend to go back and try to use other things. I prefer, my course is set up in a specific way. If you do your assignments, your homework, the goal would be to get 100% on those. I know there's time issues sometimes, especially the summer. It's a pretty compressed schedule. But anything you get wrong in your homework, you have the opportunity to redo and get it correct. So, there's a pretty high probability you could get close to 100% on all your homework. But homework is really to prepare for the tests, and the quizzes are pre-tests. And if you follow that pattern, that's where I've seen most students succeed, is they use basically the things that I'm using in my grade book or my assignments, rather than, there's a lot of other things in this platform that can help you. All the homework assignments have these video portions and interactive things I have attached to them. It's also graded that if you don't view the videos, you lose a point on any of your homework. So gradebook, course home assignments are basically what I use to get through this course. Now, this is eText is a way to go to your online book on your computer. There's also an app called eTest you can put on your smartphone that works really well. So it's nice. You could have, if you have a laptop, you could have your phone open to the book, and it's pretty readable on your phone, even if it's a small phone. So pretty effective app, and so you have access to your book this way, or on your phone, or if you have a paper copy. So basically, I just want to go through those main points to help you manage your course for this summer. And again, this is pretty important. The announcements are all going to be emailed, but make sure you have an email address in here that you check frequently, or you're going to miss, you may miss a change in the course. So good luck. Welcome to the course. And if you're around Wenatchee, I'll see you Friday.